A lot of you are new to me and may not know the history of how I became an Adrien Brody fan. It's a question I get asked a lot lately. It may cover a long span of time, but it's not really that long of a story. So we start in early 2003. The Oscars are coming up, and people keep mentioning this guy named Adrien Brody. I didn't remember his first name at first, but his last name stuck out to me because I grew up obsessed with Jaws and even its sequels. And, Chief Brody and his family are kind of the focus of that. So I thought, oh, that's funny. His name's Brody. And so I just sort of remembered him because of that. He stood out to me because they kept saying what an underdog he was and how all the other actors in the category that year had won Oscars before. So he was this guy, newcomer, who had really been in the business for 17 years at that point. But, overnight sensation. And, they kept talking about that. And they had all the, he was the underdog, the dark horse. And, all the betting sites had him paying out the best because it was such a long shot, right? So I started to latch onto it, the momentum and the excitement of it all. Like, maybe this guy could really win. Wouldn't that be crazy? Cut to Oscar night. He does indeed win, beating Michael Caine, Nicolas Cage, Jack Nicholson, and Daniel Day-Lewis. Absolute insanity. In fact, one of the first things Adrien said in his speech was,
"There comes a time in life when everything seems to make sense, and this is not one of those times."
And I still remember, that's still my favorite line from that speech. So anyway, I was really excited for him that he had won because he was the underdog. He was also the youngest. He was the youngest to ever win in that category, actually. He still is. He was 29. He was about ready to turn 30. And the youngest winner before him had been Richard Dreyfuss, who was 30 at the time. Sorry about that, Richard Dreyfuss. So I bought The Pianist on DVD when it was released and watched it. And I said, oh, no wonder this guy got an Oscar. This is fantastic. In 2003, when Adrien won the Oscar, I was heavily into Lord of the Rings. In fact, the third one hadn't come out yet. And I was just rewatching Fellowship and Two Towers just repeatedly, just anticipating Return of the King coming. And so that was occupying all my time. All my movie watching was just Lord of the Rings. It was kind of a miracle that I saw The Pianist at that point. So yeah, it just kind of stalled there in superficial level, I guess you could say, where I just said, oh yeah, I remember that guy, he's a good actor, but I didn't watch anything else of his. Jump ahead to 2010, 2011, somewhere in there. Like a lot of us, I was active on LiveJournal. There was a challenge going around. Watch 100 films you had never seen before. They didn't have to be new movies, they just had to be new to you. So while I was trying to complete that, which I didn't, spoiler alert, I only got to like 40 or something by the end of the year. And so Hollywoodland came on one of the movie channels we had. And I was looking at, the description of it or whatever, and it said Adrien Brody. And I said, oh, that guy from The Pianist, he's in it. Well, that sounds interesting. And, the premise of the story sounded interesting too. So I figured, all right, why not? Loved it. I believe I even rewatched it the next time it came up on that channel. I was impressed by him. I liked the film. Yet I still wasn't what you would call a fan. I was just, like I said, surface level, distracted by all my other fandoms and stuff I had going on. A lot of my time was taken up with the small child I had at the time, of course. And, usually whatever's on TV is what they wanted to watch. That's one of the main reasons I didn't get to the 100 movies that year, by the way, was anytime the DVD player was on, it was something of hers. She is a young adult now. So let's jump ahead a little bit to probably mid-2012. I was on a kick at the time to watch Woody Allen films. I had previously been watching Marlon Brando films. And so those overlapped a little bit. I was doing a little Brando, little Woody Allen, back and forth. And I got to Midnight in Paris when it first hit the movie channels, which I believe was 2012. It came out in 2011, so that sounds about right. So I watched that strictly because it was a Woody Allen film, and I noticed Adrien's name in the credits. And I went, oh, isn't that interesting? We get to the scene with the surrealists, and I was just blown away by two things. One, how much the actor playing Man Ray looked like the real Man Ray. And secondly, Adrien's performance as Salvador Dali was just enchanting. It helped sell the magic of the whole movie to me, even though he is in it for 3 minutes. So that, my friends, was the moment that changed everything. I basically abandoned both Woody Allen and Marlon Brando and took up the cause of watching all of Adrien Brody's films instead. After I decided to go on that quest to see all of his films, I'm pretty sure the next thing I watched was King Kong. Because of being so obsessed with the Lord of the Rings films, I had been, meaning to watch King Kong for several years at that point, because it was a Peter Jackson film and had a lot of the same people involved in the production and whatnot. So yeah, I watched that. Also loved Adrien in that. I didn't love the movie as much as I thought I would. As long of a movie as it is, some of it still felt rushed somehow, and then other parts dragged, and the pacing was a little off for me. Ironically, the pacing is better in the extended version. I know that sounds weird because it's longer, but the things just fall into place better in the extended version. So if you don't like King Kong, check out the extended and you might change your mind.
Several months later, thousands of tears later.
So between the late summer of 2012 that it was at that point to probably also late summer of 2015, I saw all of his films. It took quite a while because one, he's been in a lot of things, and two, some of them were pretty hard to track down. At a certain point, I decided I wanted to start collecting them on physical media. And so I started doing that. And that's the part I think that took a while. I did them so randomly. It was just whenever I found them. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start over and go in order this time. And I think I'll start a blog where I write little reviews of each one as I go. So I did that, everybrodymovie.com. Which was inspired, by the way, by a Woody Allen blog that was a similar concept. So if you happen to be watching this and you're the person who ran the Every Woody Allen Movie blog, thank you for the inspiration. My first post, which was about Home at Last, it was quite a deep dive actually, because I figured not a lot of people have seen it. I wanted to give them the whole story. And it was published on November 16th, 2015. So in 2021, I somehow got the idea to start a YouTube channel, also called Every Brody Movie. Eventually, that channel, the way I was going about it, you can see it on my face, particularly in the review I did for the movie Ghosted. It looks like a hostage video that I was forced to make under threat of violence or something. And I just felt like I had to review it, even though I had no interest in reviewing it. It felt like such a chore to make those videos. And it showed. There was absolutely no joy in me at that point. My physical and mental health were not great at that point either, so that didn't help. So I decided to kind of abandon that channel and start a new one. So Adrien Brody with Sprinkles was born at the end of January in 2025. And it's been pretty fun so far. A lot more fun than the other one. I hope I'm less boring than I was on that one. It almost feels like secondhand embarrassment until I realize it actually is me. So that's kind of the whole story. I hope that wasn't too long-winded. I hope those of you watching who are new Adrien fans have a good time on your own journey. Because I know between the TurboTax big game ads and his Broadway debut in The Fear of 13, there are some new fans coming in. So that's exciting, and welcome to the fold. And I hope I can be of some assistance to you. I'm going to put up a playlist here that I've made for new Adrien Brody fans specifically. And to anyone watching this, take care, and I hope to see you again.